Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Musicians Café. First of all, I want to wish you all Happy New Year and belated Christmas. I'm really looking forward to starting the new year and continuing this project, which will probably change in some aspects. I was thinking of creating a separate account. As you can see, I'm still using my own personal one, and I was thinking that maybe it's fair to separate the two things. Maybe you noticed I'm doing the 100 days of practice as well on my personal one, and it's getting a bit too busy. And also I know there are specific people that specifically want to follow me personally and not this project, and also other people that would like to follow this project more often, right? And so it might be fair to separate the two accounts and not getting the feed too busy. I wanted to take a minute to thank all of you, the people who have supported me and given me so much trust as well during this short but intense journey. I started in May last year, and today is the 27th episode. I started in last year without much expectation, but with great desire and enthusiasm. And it's amazing on how even a small project like this one can become something big if one dedicates oneself with passion and attention, and always ready to change and correct and recalibrate one's aim. I had to change a couple of things along the way on how I do things, how I say things, but the heart of the project is still the same. It's basically a relaxed conversation between musicians, friends, and or people involved in the music industry. We had all sorts of guests, and I'm really glad for all of them. I want to thank all of them for being able to participate to this project and to collaborate with me in a way. Very soon I will open an application, most probably, to get some help, because it's getting quite difficult to manage everything. So do please stay tuned and consider helping me doing this project, Sunday Musicians Café. And I wanted to say also a couple of things about the nature of it, because I've been asked many times why I'm doing this, which are the criteria I use to choose the guests. And basically this project came from a personal place. So I want to try to answer to that question that so many times we've been asked by other people, which is a very annoying question, but also important one that they ask us musicians when we say what we do, and they say, well, how do we make a living as a musician? And so many times we laugh about this question, and so many times we get annoyed as well, right? And I think personally that we also get annoyed because we don't know how to answer ourselves. And it's very important that, in the past I had a hard time to answer this question, and I think nowadays I have more clear ideas, and this podcast can be an answer in a way to that question, because I'm showing all the possible careers that someone can take getting into music, right? And all the type of careers, positive or negative experiences we encounter along the way, that can be helpful for everybody. And one of the slogans of Sunday Musicians Café was in the past was share to grow, which was not referred only to the other people but also to our own self. So it was very important. It is very important to share our own experiences, to be able to see them more objectively from the outside, and also getting inspired by other ones. I hope you are spending a lovely afternoon today, Sunday, And one of the guests, I mean today's guest, is Matthew Iddeson, is a perfect example of what I was saying. Being a musician is not just being a good performer, and the technical preparation that we achieve is not the only skill we have. And getting into music, it means many things, and to learn a lot of skills which are a broader concept, right, than just being able to play an instrument. And I think Matthew is a good example, because he founded a very nice music platform, which is Forte, and I hope we can talk about that today with him. So let's invite him.
Hey.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very good. And you, Matthew? All
Yeah,
good?
really well, thank you. Really well. Really well. Thank you
Fantastic, fantastic. I was saying just before you joined the chat. First of all, thank you so much for doing this and finding the time. I know you're very busy and you're very entrepreneurial, which is the thing I was trying to say just a minute before, because you know, so many times we find hard to answer the question, how do we make a living as musicians, right?
Yeah.
And we also find it annoying, you know, because I honestly think it's because we don't know how to answer ourselves that question. And so this podcast, for example, this little project is in a way trying to answer that question. I started myself questioning that, right? And I said it's important to see all the type of career and all the skills. And you are one of the first example, I guess. You're joining us today with your project account, which is the Forte.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad for that, you know. And I think it's good that people see the person behind the instrument, or the person behind the job, right?
Of course.
And not just the performer or the distant artist that we are sometimes, right? So tell us a bit about yourself, and then we'll talk about Forte. But before, tell us about ourselves.
Yeah, so I myself trained as a classical singer. So I did my undergrad at the Royal Academy of Music, and then went on and did my master's at the Royal College of Music. During that journey, I was fortunate enough that I was a chorister when I was younger, and sort of the natural progression from that was to continue on to conservatoire and sort of enter into that journey with the sort of the end goal to be an opera singer, really. But through the journey, I realized that it wasn't for me. The music side, I think we learn a huge amount of transferable skills during our time at conservatoire. And I think
that's the point.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are very tunnel visioned, which you have to be the top level musician that you want to be, and to create a living for yourself, and to also develop professionally. You have to be extremely tunnel visioned and one track mind to put all of the effort in, because that is a really tough industry to go into. And I've got a huge amount of respect for people that do that. The thing for me, I realized fairly early on, I think COVID put a bit of a scuppered my progression per se, and therefore I realized that I didn't want to go into being a classical singer as a career. But that's not to say that I don't love classical music as an industry, as a genre, as a whole world in that. So in my second year of my master's at the Royal College, I founded ForteSessions, which is a classical music media company, and I'm excited to say that we've just also launched the artist management side of that.
Fantastic. Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing. No, you see, I mean, the people will be they're very interested, I tell you, on this side of growing in the music industry. And when you were saying you realized you didn't want to become a singer, just as I guess you still sing by yourself now, obviously.
Yeah.
But you didn't want to get in that specific career. And you were saying a very important thing, that actually you're not leaving classical music because of that.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yes, that's the point. I mean, you're actually helping much more now, probably. to everybody. Yeah, everybody. Yeah. So you graduated in 2022, right?
So 2023, literally this summer here. So
okay.
Yeah, so very recent. It was I had a great time there, and I was very fortunate that I got to experience a lot in the past couple of years. And therefore, I think actually I was given a bit of an opportunity to step away from what I was going to do and actually go into what I really want to sort of develop. And therefore, I think I was fortunate enough that I was given some advice. I was just to take everything from the Royal College is such a great institute, and therefore you've got to really sort of utilize everything that you get there and sort of develop the connections of which you don't get when you've left conservatoire. So I used that time to sort of network and develop a bit of a group around me that we were able to sort of put this into place. And I'm very, very fortunate that I've got a couple of close friends of mine that are really helping me along the way. I think to make something viable and to make something really work, you've got to take ideas and ideologies from other industries, or actually not even industries, from other aspects of the performing arts world, to sort of try and push on the classical industry a little bit more. I think it needs a bit of a prod in the back just to get it moving a little bit. That's
absolutely. I mean, as an entrepreneur would do, he takes inspiration from all the kind of fields that surround him, and the circle in which you are in helps you to grow in all the aspects of your life and your job as well, right?
Of course.
Tell us about how did you cope, because that might be interesting as well for musicians and in general performers. How did you cope with the fact that I guess it wasn't a day in which you decided, okay, I'm not a singer anymore and I'm an entrepreneur. But I think more as a process. I see it as more as a process. And how did you cope with that? Did you find helpful to talk to people about it, or you wanted to keep it for yourself?
I think it's a bit of it. It was a difficult journey, I'd say, because of the fact that you sort of identify as a certain something for a long time. For me, because I'd had a upbringing of singing, that was sort of my I don't know, it's how people perceive me in a lot of ways. Whereas realistically, actually, I wasn't particularly happy doing it. I think you get to a point where if you're not enjoying it, there's no point in continuing on to do it, because actually to get to the level of which you've got to get to, you've really got to sort of put all your eggs into one basket and really commit to it. And unfortunately, I wasn't willing to do that, and I didn't. But that took a little bit of time. I think for me, finding a bit of purpose outside of that was really helpful.
Is there any specific event or maybe encounters you had that helped you realize this?
So I sort of mixed with certain people that I was fortunate enough to be in a position where I was sort of really in the industry that I should have gone into, and sort of been involved with a lot of people around it. And I'd be going to these events and realizing actually this isn't for me, and this isn't something that really appeals to me. And I love the whole sort of atmosphere and the whole workings of it. But realistically, the practice of me singing itself really wasn't something that I didn't feel jealous. And I think if you're not feeling jealous for something like that, I think you've got to take a hard look and realize that it's not for you. And it took a little while, if I'm honest. I'm really happy now that I've sort of got to a position where I'm in a much happier place with the whole thing, which is great. Which has given me opportunities to develop other things, and it's given me a purpose in that respect. So it is, I've been quite happy in that respect.
No, I'm sure all the skills that you have learned singing, you're applying them in your current job at the moment. And so tell us about Forte. How did you came out with this idea?
So I think it doesn't take a genius to realize that we are surrounded by a world that content is king. Really, we are heavily pushed